If everyone could please take a seat. We need everyone to please take a seat.
Please take a moment to note
We'll
the
be starting
emergency
in
exits,
30
either
seconds.
in the side or in the rear of the theater. In the event of an emergency, you will be directed when and where to exit. To enhance your experience and those around you, please take a moment to silence all mobile phones and other audio devices. Please refrain from using any devices, including texting. Thank you.
If you are just joining us, please take a seat. Thank you. There's seating up front. No need to stand in back.
Welcome to historic Barnum Hall. Please take a moment to note the emergency exits, either in the side or in the rear of the theater. In the event of an emergency, you will be directed when and where to exit. To enhance your experience and those around you, please take a moment to silence all mobile phones and other audio devices. Please refrain from using any devices, including texting. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Please take your seats. File in and take your seats. All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome. Please take your seats, everyone, and file in. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to district-wide Convocation. My name is Ryan Shen, and I will be the Santa Monica High School Student Body President for this upcoming school year. Thank you. Before we begin, may I please have everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for our national anthem, led by our very own Samuel High Choir.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red bells bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You may be seated. Thank you, everyone, for making it out here today. Personally, my experience with SMM-USD, probably very similar to most of our students in this district, actually dates back to preschool. When I was much smaller, maybe half the height I am today, I attended one of the very first district preschools at Franklin. I moved on to Lincoln Middle School, and now I'm finally here at Samo High. I've met a lot of great people over my 11 years in grade school, not just from the schools I attended, but from those all around our district. What I've especially noticed is that the close community and diversity we have all helped to build over these years is something we should all really be proud of. Not once as a student have I ever felt like I didn't have at least some sort of support system on campus. And that's because all of you are helping to make a positive influence on every student you interact with in some way or another. Thank you for your drive, dedication, and motivation in building the close bonds and incredible learning environment we have here today. Have an amazing school year. And now I'm pleased to welcome our SMM-USD Superintendent, Dr. Ben Draughty.
Man, it's bright up here. Thank you, Ryan, for the introduction, and thank you to Jeff Hewell and the amazing singers from Samo High. A fascinating bit of information about Ryan His dad was ASB president when he attended Samuel High, and Ryan's older brother was also ASB president. That's amazing. So I guess Viking leadership runs in the family. Good morning, everyone. It is great to see everyone here today, and welcome back. I hope you took some time to focus on yourself and loved ones throughout the summer break. A very wise peer and mentor of mine constantly reminds me that I need to take care of myself in order to take care of others around me. This is especially important to remember in the education field, as educators are often so concerned about others that they miss out on self-care. We don't take advantage of some of our needs, such as financial planning, utilizing all that is provided to government workers from the government. So I hope you took some time to work on self and rejuvenate for this upcoming year. We have some things to share with you about our very important work, but before we begin, I'd like to make sure important acknowledgments and introductions. Let me start off by thanking staff involved in planning Convocation and the professional development sessions that will occur today and the rest of the week. Thank you to the City of Santa Monica for supporting us with parking. I am very thankful for the great and unique partnership we have with the city. Thank you to schools, First Federal Credit Union, for sponsoring the breakfast. Yes. Breakfast is important. Please stop by and thank them as you walk out. They have a table out front to sign up and become members. They have great financial options for school district employees. We have some special guests in the audience who champion you and are essential to our success. When I say your name, please stand and be recognized. Representing the Santa Monica Malibu Unified School District Board of Education, we have Dr. Richard Tavilderen Cheswin, President. Mr. John Keene, Vice President. Members, Mr. Oscar De La Torre. Mr. Craig Foster. Mr. Ralph Metzer, and Mrs. Lori Lieberman, who was unable to be here today. Representing the I'm sorry, my apologies. Also, Mrs. Maria Vasquez, Leon Vasquez. Thank you for that reminder, sir. Representing the Personnel Commission, we have Barbara Inesagu. Representing SMMCTA, we have Sarah Braff, President. Representing SEIU, we have Carol Carty McNeely, Stewart. Representing the Santa Monica Education Foundation, we have Linda Greenberg. We'll explain why we didn't mention in Malibu in that last phrase later on. Representing the PTA Council, we have Claudia Sizer. There are some PTA Council members in the audience today, so if you can, please stand and be recognized as well. Representing Santa Monica College, we have Dr. Catherine Jeffrey, President. And also Dr. Luis Jaffe, Board of Trustees. Representing the City of Santa Monica, we have Mr. Rick Cole, City Manager. We also have Police Chief Cynthia Renaud. Captain Wendell Shirley of the Police Department, Resource Officers Robert Sparks and Russ Grimond. Representing the City of Malibu, we have Reva Feldman, City Manager. Representing the Santa Monica Boys and Girls Club, we have Jason Mignot, Board Chair. Also Tom Larimer, First Vice Chair. Representing the Malibu Boys and Girls Club, Mrs. Casey Ernest, Executive Director. Representing the Malibu City Chamber of Commerce, Mrs. Barbara Bruderland. I would also like to call your attention to our new hires for 2018-19. As you know, as you can see, our Personnel Commission and Human Resources staff have been extremely busy these past few months. For our certificated staff, we have 32 new teachers, 3 new student support advisors, 1 literacy and language interventionist, 2 new speech pathologists, and 1 elementary music teacher. We also welcome 7 new school psychologists. For our classified staff, we hired almost 30 new classified employees. Joining our team are paraeducators, classroom assistants, custodians, campus security officers, a senior office specialist, a health office specialist, a bilingual community liaison, a communication specialist, a human resource technician, a sports facility coordinator, and 2 occupational therapists. Welcome to all of our new classified employees. For our administrative team, we welcome the following new site administrators. Mr. Ryan Burke as the new principal of Will Rogers Learning Community. Christian Fear is the new principal at Grant Elementary School. Vivian Choi and Lorene Sheehan are new house principals at Santa Monica High School. Darcy Killer is now an assistant principal at Lincoln Middle School. Julie Siegel is an assistant principal at Juan Cabrillo Elementary School and Point Dume Marine School. Pam Herkner will be the principal of both Juan Cabrillo School and Point Dume Marine School. Last but not least, join me in welcoming the following district-level administrators. Mr. Isaac Burgess as the director of the Malibu Pathway. Sam Goshi will be the new Director of Assessment. I didn't complete the entire job title. Director of Assessment, Research, and Evaluation, excuse me. Mrs. Frida Rossi is the new Coordinator of Family Engagement. Mr. Jim Watwood is a new Special Education Coordinator. Welcome to all of our new administrators. You know, a person I've gotten to know, admire, and respect is the world-renowned researcher and author Michael Fullan. In one of his books, he says, Transforming education is one of the signature challenges of our times. I'm going to repeat that. Transforming education is one of the signature challenges of our times. The most important thing we can do in addressing this challenge are preparing the existing staff and to bring on staff ready to take on the challenge. This is why today's convocation theme is SMMUSD on the move, leading from the middle. We'll talk about what we are doing as a whole district to prepare ourselves to take on the challenges in a bit. But I want to say that I feel very confident and excited about the people I just introduced earlier in joining SMMUSD in this endeavor. I would like to now introduce or bring up Dr. Richard Tvilder Chessman, our Board of President, who will be welcoming everyone to the new year.
Good morning. Oh, come on, please. Good morning. That's a little bit better. I was just saying to some of my colleagues here in the front row, I said the teachers and the support staff are just like the kids, I presume, making their way to the back of the hall. I want to say good morning again, and thank you so much for allowing me to say a few words to you this morning. My name is Richard Tvilder Jeswin, and if that's too big a mouthful, you can always just say Richard TJ. That's fine by me. Like you, I am an educator, and when I use the word educator in my brief remarks today, you know that I also mean the support service employees, because everybody who is here in SMMUSD is an educator. Let's raise the roof for that, right? So I'm also a parent of two kids, one who's successfully made her way through our school district and another one who is dreading returning to school here at Samo High in just a few days. He said, "Daddy, please," yes, he still calls me Daddy, "please make sure you don't say anything that could potentially embarrass me as I arrive to school on Thursday." I said, "I can't promise that." So, but my position today is to represent the Board of Education. So my remarks today are on behalf of the entire Board of Education, and it's my pleasure on behalf of the board to welcome you back to school. Now, Dr. Drati says I have 3 minutes. Dr. Drati is really kind and gentle and wonderful, but Sarah there, she'll come and tear me off the stage, so I gotta hurry here. So as I was preparing for my 3 minutes to say hello and to welcome you this morning, I said, I want to make sure that I hit the 3 most important points, the 3 most important things that we, the members of the Board of Education, would like to share with you this morning as you're about to embark on an incredible year. Number 1, you and your profession as educators are valued. You are valued and respected by this Board of Education and by the community of Santa Monica and Malibu. We are particularly taken by the incredible work that you do each and every day to ensure social justice on our campuses. The work that you do together daily to institute social justice learning standards, how you are leading not just here in our district but throughout the state of California is nothing less than remarkable. The work you do to see our kids and ensure that all of them feel as if they are seen. You ensure that they matter and that they know that they are mattering to the community, to you. The work you do with regards to implementing the board policy with regards to ethnic studies and American cultures and this new graduation requirement that we have put forth for 2024 speaks to our commitment as educators to ensure that every child, regardless of where she, he, they come from, is valued and is seen as an incredibly important member of our community. You know what many don't know, I think, in the country in this particular moment, that the work that you are engaged in is absolutely essential. It is key to a vibrant and just democratic society. Number 2, that second point I wanted to say to you on behalf of the Board of Education is that you and your profession as educators are valued, and you are respected. No one did. I can't see it on my bifocals on. Sorry, this is the same as the first. Because we want to convey how important you are. The work that you are doing with regards to inquiry-based learning and project-based learning, and those may be fancy words that folks on a school board or folks who are studying about education bandy about, but you have been doing this for your entire careers. You've been doing this every day. What you do is you look to the child and you say, how am I going to reach her? How am I going to reach him? How am I going to reach them? And where is the joy of learning? And you do that each and every day because you want to make sure that the experience that that child has is a fulfilled one. We know how hard this work is on the Board of Education. We know how hard it is, we know how trying it is, and we value you, we respect you for the work that you do each and every day. Third and last of the points that we wanted to share with you this morning is that you and your profession as educators are valued and respected. The work that you do at Collaboration, the way that you are leading, I think Dr. Drati says, leading from the middle. The work that you do together, the respect that you show one another in these communities across our two cities is also nothing less than remarkable. Your commitment to your peers, your willingness to share what works well and what didn't work so well so that you could continue to improve always, is something that we at the Board of Education, and even more importantly, those in the communities of Malibu and Santa Monica see firsthand. We're grateful to you. We know this work is hard. So now you probably understand that what I wanted to convey is that all 7 members of the Board of Education have a deep and long respect and admiration for the work that you do. The work that you do as educators is noble. It's a noble profession. The work that you're doing with restorative justice, fingers crossed, will make its way beyond our district, beyond our West Side community, our Los Angeles community, because our country in this moment, and dare I say the world, needs the sensibilities of a restorative justice moment. Like you, I am an educator. I'm a professor at Santa Monica College, and I teach political science. I suspect that when I start classes on Monday that a good number of my students will hail from Santa Monica Malibu Unified School District. I want to tell you as a college professor, those are the very best students that I have in my classrooms. The students who come from Malibu High, Olympic High, and Santa Monica High School. So it's an incredible pleasure and privilege to be working with you in this pathway of ensuring that education is truly the opportunity that we all want it to be for so many young people. So again, welcome back. We hope you have an incredible year. We value you. We've got your back. And we want you to know that we know what you know and that education is always the place of resistance. Thank you.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sarah Braff. I'm president of the Teachers Association. Before I begin, I must acknowledge the hard work of all staff for managing, somehow, amazingly, getting it all together under very difficult circumstances to open school. I know it is through the sweat of your brow and the dedicated help of many hands. Bravo, and thank you, and standing ovation for every single person in this room who has worked so hard to get it together for all of us. One of the lessons I learned, or should I say relearned, from the restorative justice and matrices of bias experiences is the need to turn inward and relook at myself. I have worked on and behalf of social and economic justice for more than 50 years, and I can't believe I just said that. I can't believe how old I am. Yet, in spite of my best intentions, I'm still capable of delivering unintended biases on others. When someone appears to be a member of one group, but identifies with a different group, why is it so hard for me to accept? And how must it feel to the person who is asked over and over again, "What are you?" Am I brave enough to accept that while my intent is good, my actions might not be? and I need to work on myself first and foremost. The main essentials of quality education haven't changed: a rigorous curriculum, effective instruction, ample and updated resources, and most importantly, our eager students. But of equal importance is that we must all aim to create a social and cultural climate in which the hard work of teaching and learning is valued and respected. It's getting tougher every day to navigate the world of public education. Non-educators have been hired to administer huge districts and make policy on the advice of people who have never set foot in a classroom. We live in a country where some schools are asked to function as if they are a business in a free market economy. Education is not a business. The current court system seeks to silence our speech and our ability to create change and advocate for public education as a civil right for all. We need to stand up, and we need to stand united. It is imperative that those of us on the front lines have a real voice. We support Dr. Dradi and our district's approach to education and embrace the concept leading from the middle. We must incorporate social justice in our leadership, in our teaching, and most importantly, in our mindset. We must be vulnerable enough to have difficult conversations. Our good intentions are not in question, but we must acknowledge that we have had children in our care who have been marginalized and who may have had a parent or a teacher with low expectations for them. We must work to build relationships with these students, and we need to recognize that it will require ongoing effort and time. At the same time, we must ask for the support necessary to reach these goals. We need to ask our administrators and us to model the kind of teaching, learning, and behaviors necessary to build real connections, both with our students and with each other. What do we need? It may be professional development and positive behavior interventions, or how to provide support to English language learners in chemistry, or how to comfort a student who's coming out for the first time. Or is it, thank you, or is it the need to schedule time with each other to have these important conversations? Have your site leadership team ask for what your site needs. We, the leaders, and everyone in this room is a leader and role model to our students. We must be courageous enough not only to be open to change, but to lead it. We need to stand together in union. What is union? It's a coming together, a joining together in common interests. Let us work together in union with open hearts and fresh insight to make our schools and classrooms safe places for all students to learn, think, and be effective citizens of our world. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Carol Carty McNeely, and look at us, SMMUSD. On behalf of SEIU, I want to welcome everyone to the new school year, and I'd like us to take about 3 minutes to focus on who classified employees are and why they matter to all of us. We are here this morning as the collective family of SMMUSD, so I want to ask you to use your heart today to really see who the classified employees are and understand why each one is so vital in the process of educating our students. I want to share some wisdom from our very dear colleague who recently retired, Marty Mirabel. She served as the admin assistant at JAMS, for 20 years. We all make up the collective body of SMUSD. As Marty saw it, classified employees are the skeleton of the organization. The organization needs strong, sturdy bones to support the whole body. The skeleton is the foundation upon which the body stands and functions. Without a healthy skeletal structure, the body cannot stand, it cannot function, and simply cannot exist. Without all of the bones of the skeleton, the body will begin to suffer, become unhealthy, unstable, could even collapse. It is the classified workforce that anchors the organization and allows the rest of the body to flourish. Each year, I remind us classified employees are equal partners in the education of our students, and we must not just say this, we must know it in our hearts. Knowing this and believing it will then reflect in our daily work of educating our students. So how does the classroom come into existence? It starts with the student and the classified workforce. With about 106 types of classifications in our workforce, this tells us how many different support services are needed to make sure we are successfully educating every student in every classroom. Healthy schools begin with the classified workforce. Last year, we adopted Bob the Builder in our presentation because, well, he's a real union labor, blue-collar guy, and his philosophy summarizes what we do. Can we fix it? Yes, we can. We build, repair, and maintain our facilities. We clean our schools, work sites, and children's centers. We feed our students and transport them to and from school and on field trips. We support students through curriculum, music, and technology support in the classroom and libraries. We enroll students in every school and support the educational programs throughout the district. We provide technical theater support for school and community productions. We make sure our schools are safe and secure and also provide water safety. We support student health in the nurse's office. We support physical education activities. We provide critical and multi-level support services to our special education students. We maintain district vehicles and equipment. We provide computer, technology, and system support in classrooms and at every work site. We recruit and process new employees. We purchase the equipment and supplies for the district. We assist in the support and managing of district budgets and accounting systems. We process all the invoices, receipts, and bills for the district. We process all the payroll, insurance, and health benefits for employees. We support all administrative operations at every school site and every work location. We support parents and students through our community liaisons and bilingual services. We support the body of who we are collectively, the family of SMMUSD. Classified employees work hard, and we love the work we do because we know it supports our students and our schools. We are equal partners with you in this business of educating our students, and remember, we are with you and we are your friend. I'm asking each of you, administrator, principal, teacher, and yes, classified staff, to take a fresh look at each classified employee you encounter and connect his or her work to your work and to the students in the classroom. And remember, if it needs fixing, classified employees can and will get the job done, just like they did with the slides. I would like now to introduce Linda Greenberg, the Executive Director of Santa Monica Ed Foundation.
Good morning, and best wishes for a happy new school year. Last June, the Board of Education voted unanimously to separate the fundraising efforts in SMMUSD. So that happened, and I am now the Executive Director of the Santa Monica Education Foundation. The board agreed that we could raise money for board-approved programs in Santa Monica, and a soon-to-be-determined Malibu nonprofit would raise money for board-approved programs in Malibu. We all believe both communities will raise more money under this new agreement. Both nonprofits are bound by the centralized fundraising policy, though. They can only raise funds for programs that the Board of Education approves. Currently, those programs include elementary arts, instructional aids, and stretch grants for every school, which have been used for health and wellness programs, STEM programs, and more. The Malibu nonprofit has not yet been determined, but I'm here on both of our behalves. I want to incentivize each one of you to make a donation to either the Santa Monica Education Foundation, the soon-to-be-determined Malibu nonprofit, or both. By the way, we will hold all Malibu commitments and donations until their nonprofit is established, and then we will turn those over. And for anyone who makes a donation or a pledge today, or opts to be part of the payroll deduction program, you will be entered into a drawing where 2 lucky staff donors will each win a $500 Amazon gift card. If you are part of the payroll deduction program, continuing from last year, your name is already entered in the drawing and your envelope is already in that red bucket. We'll pull the lucky winners of the drawing at the end of this program. While the theme of this year is leading from the middle, I am asking every one of you to lead by making a donation, classified, certificated, and administration. Every single one of you in this room impacts the educational experience for all of our children. We ask our parents to donate, we ask corporations and foundations to donate, and we do ask you to donate. You've heard me say before that staff participation matters to businesses and foundations. They truly need to know how invested staff is in the programs we are trying to provide for our students. Please take the envelope that was on your seat, fill it out, make a donation, make a pledge, or opt for payroll deduction. Volunteers and Ed Foundation staff will be collecting the envelopes. I know that most of you are waiting for your paychecks and might be a little cash-strapped after the summer, and that's fine. Just know you can make a pledge and pay any time before June 30th, or as I said, sign up for payroll deduction, where whatever amount you decide comes out of your paycheck each month to help our children. And I want to point out the 3 ways you can donate. You can donate with a cash or credit card, you can become a monthly donor, or you can donate through payroll. But right above that, it says, make my donation to, there's a box, Santa Monica Education Foundation, Malibu Schools Nonprofit, or the same amount to both. The drawing for the 2 $500 Amazon gift cards will happen right after the longevity pin ceremony, so please make whatever gift is meaningful to you. We appreciate it, and our students will benefit greatly. Thank you, and now I'd like to call Dr. Drati back to the stage.
For this year's convocation, instead of having someone from the outside come and address and inspire us, I wanted all of us to hear from our peers. I have personally been inspired by all that I've seen you do and how you've been willing to stretch yourselves to improve learning for our students. But before I introduce our guest speakers, I want to talk to you about what Michael Fullen meant when he said, transforming education is one of the signature challenges of our times. I'm sure you are all aware of the challenges we are facing in the world right now. Up here is just a small sample of what we are facing as a human race across the world in general, as well as specific to the education in the 21st century. Just take a moment and read some of those descriptors. Sometimes it's hard to watch the news, as it can be depressing. Some channels I tried to watch as long as I could to assess my tolerance and grit. I'm not going to mention which one. One of those, so far, I've made it to 10 minutes before throwing the remote control at it. It's even been difficult to deal with friends or acquaintances on Facebook or other social media channels. Then I often wonder, how did we get here? Have the relational issues in our great nation always been here and left unresolved? And more importantly, what world will I leave behind for my 25, 18, and 70-year-old children to deal with? As you think about the challenges we have before us, there is only one agency, one set of people, one form of organization that can shape the outcomes for all the challenges you see up there. and that is education. If we do it right and accept who we are, not only can we be responsible for establishing a new world on another planet, but more importantly, in my opinion, we can shape humanity through education. I believe that this is what Michael Fuller meant when he said, transforming education is one of the signature challenges of our times. I hope all of you in this room can see and feel the sense of responsibility, ownership, and hopefully pride with that understanding. I ask, how do we face such a daunting challenge and adjust our personal selves in what we do to meet the needs before us? The answer is we band together and do it together. We honor and teach the whole person, and we learn through consciously reflecting on our humanity. Last year, I introduced the idea of approaching this work through a three-pronged approach, and that is to create a culture of shared accountability through a systems approach. We systematize how we interact, how we work. We work together. We teach cross-cultural and social-emotional skills. And we engage in constant self-reflection around issues of equity. This past year, we invested a lot of time and resources to introducing and establishing and understanding what is meant by these three approaches. And today, we will hear from our peers what the work has meant to them. Creating a system so that there is coherent alignment with all stakeholders is monumental. It's a monumental task and is necessary for us to achieve our goals and face the challenges I described earlier. I'm going to repeat that. Creating a system so that there is coherent alignment with all stakeholders is a monumental task and is necessary for us to achieve our goals and face the challenges I described earlier. You just heard from two of our CTA and SEIU leaders talk about us working together. We have over 8,000 staff in this district. Are we all plugged in and operating in a coherent manner? That will take work. That will take us making sure that we are plugged in and that we are systematizing our work. Now, I'd like for you to hear from your peers.
As part of our school district's three-pronged approach, there has been an emphasis on leading from the middle. And what this means is we know that our staff members at school sites are best positioned to make decisions around student learning and next steps. Knowing this information, we thought it would be important to share with the entire district community on Convocation some examples of this work happening across school sites. While we know we have over 100 SLT members across the site, we were so fortunate to interview a handful of these teachers and staff to share some of the examples of work happening at their schools.
And while there were only a few that we could interview, we really appreciated that they took the time to actually reach out to many of you, their colleagues, to find out what your thoughts were regarding the questions that we asked. So we hope this will give you a brief snapshot into what we were able to see from all of the hard work you all have been doing.
Our focus is unpacking math story problems, and we also have a writing focus looking and using evidence-based writing.
Our focus this year was on evidence-based learning across all content areas. The focus of our work was social emotional learning, and we used the instructional tool of Responsive Classroom to help us achieve that goal.
Olympic High School had 2 school-wide areas of focus this past year: precise use of academic language and evidence-based writing.
The SLT work that we've done at our site has really impacted some good conversations with our staff, specifically in how to have tough conversations. And we are able to professionally agree and disagree with each other and do it in a way that is, number one, impactful for the student learning and helping us grow professionally as well.
At Grant, our SLT focus has really allowed us to have a laser focus. So when we come to PLCs, we know what it is that we're working on, what we're talking about, and how it's going to impact our students.
As multi-age teams, and being such a small school, our work is very intertwined. So the conversations as teams really informed our focus for the year, and that's how we chose persuasive writing.
The SLT work has been really excellent last year in terms of our PLCs. We did some direct workshops on depth of knowledge and then followed that up looking at student work, and it was very valuable.
Well, to take our English PLC, for example, it's really helped us work together to dive into new and complex texts in our new textbook that we haven't used before with students, to really spend our time talking about how we're going to help students through this text as opposed to just assigning it to them and hoping for the best.
And other subject areas here at JAMS, we went ahead and taught process of teaching close reading, and then from there, math teachers and science teachers also took close reading methods and taught complex texts relating to their interdisciplinary studies.
So leading from the middle, my understanding is that you do a needs assessment. You think about your site, you think about what the data shows, and decisions are made by those closest to the kiddos. Those decisions are standard aligned, and they also allow for deeper conversations within your PLC, and just really focus on student impact, student outcome, and really doing what's best for the kiddos.
From the middle means that we decide on this work collaboratively. Our SLT focus is composed of our principal, our assistant principal, myself, a member from every grade level, as well as our special ed team. In this way, we ensure that our work meets the needs of our students. Of course, this is done in the greater context of Santa Monica, Malibu goals, including engaging students, making sure that English language learners become proficient, and closing the achievement gap. And in this way, while the work that we do is specifically tailored to McKinley students, we're also contributing to developing a cohesive and viable curriculum within the district.
My understanding of leading from the middle is that as a school, we're able to come up with what our needs are for our students. So looking more specifically at our student population and figuring out what it is that we need to focus on, and then setting our goals to address that.
For the first time in all my years here, I really feel like the district's goals and the school goals are actually aligned. I've felt extremely supported by the district, and I think this is one of the first times where I feel like our site is being listened to in terms of what our students need, and the district has fully supported that every step along the way. Especially in my department, getting to work alongside Amy Teplin and Bonnie Thorson at Malibu, and making sure that we're all kind of talking and having conversations around what's best for our students.
For next year, I think my team is most excited about being able to take all the hard work that we did last year, getting everything started, and being able to take more ownership of each piece, like the schedules and the rubrics and everything we need to put in place to get the students moving. I think that's what everybody's really excited about for next year.
It's very exciting working with our partner school, Webster and Point Doom together, expanding what we've been doing in our writing from the beginning. We started with narrative, and next year we're going to pursue expository writing.
We are planning to maintain what works. And what worked was when we were using all of the academic discourse with ELA. So we're going to move it, shift it over, keep ELA, and move it to math, working with CGI and also number talks and various strategies that we'll be using as teachers and communicating in a collaborative format to actually maintain this great work.
This year, in developing our strategic focus as a staff, we decided to start with building a shared vision and mission statement, and then using that as our building blocks for our SLT focus and implementation plan. So that took a lot of work and time, and so what we're really looking forward to as an SLT team is next year putting these into cycles and really being able to see how this grows and is refined as we go through the work together.
This year, I'm most looking forward to seeing our students incorporate their academic language into their writing. I think that we're going to see the benefits of everything that we've worked toward the past couple years. As a parent, I'm really excited because my children get to benefit from everyone's hard work at our school site and at other sites in the district.
We hope this gave you some good information about what's happening with our SLT teams. We look forward to seeing what's happening in this coming year and beyond.
And on behalf of students and families across the district, thank you so much for your hard work, and we wish you a great 18-19 school year.
Good morning, everyone. We just wanted to take a moment. Irene and I wanted to take a moment to say thank you to the teachers who were cajoled, arm-twisted, volunteered to do this video. We were humbled by the experience. They were all asked multiple questions, and they all reached out to all of you to answer, to think about, and to represent your site. So hopefully you got a chance to see in action all those amazing things in a small, brief snippet. So we want to thank all of those teachers. Make sure you see them, and when you see them on the way out, you thank them. And big thanks to Gail Pinsker, our Community and Public Relations Officer, who helped us create this experience, and her daughter, Shauna, who did this with us on a zero budget. So she did all of the editing. So thank you to them as well.
As Susan just shared, it was really a highlight of the summer getting to talk with all of our teachers and staff. We do want to share the video interviews in its entirety. We're going to think about how we can put that somewhere where you all can access it, because each teacher was asked all 4 questions, and it was powerful to listen to the responses. So again, thank you for that the important work that you're doing, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it progresses throughout the year. What we're going to do now is transition to the second prong of our 3-pronged approach, which is really looking at developing the social emotional skills of our students through social justice standards. So I'm going to invite Sean Arce and Claudia Bautista Nicholas to come on up, and they're going to share a few words. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. It is an honor to speak to the 3rd prong of our Excellence Through Equity framework, and that being the teaching cross-cultural and socio-emotional skills. And very thankful for that adoption by the SMM USD Governing Board last academic year. So, with that, teaching cross-cultural and social-emotional skills, helping students to acquire knowledge, attitudes, and skills needed to function effectively in a pluralistic, democratic society, and to interact, negotiate, and communicate with people from diverse groups to create a civic and moral community that works for the common good. So we have the opportunity as teachers, as facilitators to, again, facilitate that process, helping students to navigate successfully in our complex and diverse world. Again, this is done through, this is going to be done, and it is already in the works of being done through our social justice standards. The integration of these social justice standards aren't solely in one or two disciplines. We are being intentional and strategic in our work, in that we are working to integrate the 4 domains of the social justice standards, that being identity. We know the importance of developing a positive image of self and community with our students. Diversity, identifying our similarities, embracing our differences, both in historical terms and in terms of our contemporary reality. Again, justice, our 3rd domain of the social justice standards, the ability to critically analyze issues of justice in our world, issues of power and privilege. And lastly, action, looking at, analyzing, critiquing, and evaluating actions towards social justice in our history, and then facilitating processes wherein we can have students take action on an individual level, on a community level, on a systemic or institutional level. Again, that work I'm very grateful that work has already been done. I'm very honored to be able to work with cohort 1 of our social justice standards professional development series. We had about 20 teachers, middle and high school, that we just completed for last academic year. We're going to be doing a call out, an email for cohort 2, again, on how we're going to integrate these 4 domains into our curriculum and pedagogy. We're going to do a middle school content specific, a call out for middle school content specific social justice standards professional development series. And then we're fortunate to be working with Teaching Tolerance, the Museum of Tolerance, to work and collaborate with our elementary school teachers. And again, as we saw earlier, the Teaching and Learning Council, our PD leaders, are going to be integral to this process in integrating the social justice standards. Now I'm going to introduce Claudia Bautista. Exactly. She is a rock star. She took care of me in my first year here in the district last year, and she's going to speak to different approaches on how we can actually address the social justice standards in our classroom. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is my 17th convocation here, and I have to admit that I was usually extremely nervous because I felt like, oh my God, I'm starting already behind because I don't know what the next focus will be. When we rolled out Common Core, for example, I left feeling overwhelmed. So today I'm here to hopefully help you feel at ease as you embark upon incorporating the social justice standards in your content areas. We started incorporating these into our interdisciplinary freshman seminar curriculum last year. I taught the immersion version of this. And I wanted to share one example of a lesson that we taught and how we incorporated the social justice standards in our classes. So, can you go back one slide? So we begin the lesson planning by asking these 3 questions, which basically are, who are the students in the room? What are we trying to teach? And how can the social justice standards help us honor the experiences of all students in our classroom? In this lesson about immigration in the U.S., we wanted to focus on how we can incorporate English language learners into our community. We focused on the identity justice standard. This amazing lesson from Facing History starts with viewing of a film entitled I Learn America, which relates the story of 4 high school recent immigrant students. one from Poland, Pakistan, one from Guatemala, and a refugee from Myanmar. Students journaled to think about the time they felt like outsiders, and then they view the film. As a class, they discussed the recent immigrant experience, and we challenged them to imagine not knowing the language and attending a high school in a foreign country. We then take the students through a gallery walk of other immigrant experiences, and students respond to the experience on a post-it. Can we see the next slide? Next slide? In this slide, there we go. We have a quote from Eric Garcetti, who said, "Just your average Mexican-American, Jewish, Italian mayor." And a young man, and you see the little post-it, he responded to that by saying, "My mom says I'm white, but my dad and my friends say I'm Latino. I know what it's like to not feel like you truly belong to one group." When we discussed our reactions in the community circle, then finally, we decided to start exploring our own unique identities. And then I challenged the students to write their own memoir. And in the next slide, you will see a small sampling of the things that they wrote. Since I teach immersion, you will see that I let them write their memoir in whatever language they feel comfortable. One wrote, "Forever a dreamer, not an illegal." "No soy chino, yo soy mexicano," which I love because he's actually part Japanese, but that's what he wrote. This was after we had done the careers, and she put, "Not a stripper, try a neurosurgeon," meaning that just because she looks very voluptuous, she's not gonna be a stripper. "No soy de aquí ni allá," meaning I'm not really from here nor from there. This one hit me really hard. "My eating disorder does not define me." This one also, "Always leaving, learn to find myself." "Nunca te rindas, never give up. Estudiar, soñar y luchar. Study, dream, and fight." And the last one was, "Troubled past doesn't dictate your future." Through this lesson, our students learn to honor each other's experiences as they simultaneously explore unique aspects of their own identities. We posted these poems around the class as a constant reminder not to forget who we have in the room. As you can see, many of us in all content areas are already including some aspects of the social justice standards in our practice. But when we intentionally add them to our lesson plans, we create many new opportunities to truly make a meaningful, targeted experience for our very diverse students. Thank you so much for letting me share my students' work with you.
All right, thank you, Claudia. It's an honor to reintroduce Dr. Drati, our district superintendent, and Mr. Rob Howard, our director of restorative justice. Thank you.
What is equity? Who defines equity? Is equity the same thing for everyone? How will I know whether something is equitable or needed? I will submit to you that the only way one can answer those questions or even come close to addressing these questions is to be in touch with our humanity. We must develop the skill to empathize. Empathy is a natural state of being because we all do it. We do it subconsciously with our loved ones. Some do it subconsciously with everyone, but we all have the ability to do it consciously. It is a matter of creating space for communicating and listening to learn. I will repeat that. It is a matter of creating space for communicating and listening to learn. Robert Howard, our coordinator of restorative justice, is one of the best I've seen in structurally and mentally creating the space for communicating and listening through the restorative justice philosophy. Restorative justice is one of the most important tools we have at our disposal for self-reflection around issues of equity. I would like now to bring up Robert Howard.
What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? All right. Part of my gig is I get to get people to talk. So when I say something, it's okay to say something back. Okay? Okay? I like it. What is restorative justice? It's on the PowerPoint. It says, restorative justice is a philosophy and practice rooted in the belief that a healthy community requires healthy interpersonal relationships. It is a shift in the ways that we see and interact with one another. Looking around, is there somebody that you've never seen before in this room or in your area of this room? Raise your hand if you see somebody you've never seen before. Right. Thank you. It should be normal in a convocation to see somebody you've never seen, but it also should be normal to be able to go, hi, my name is, how are you? An introduction. So it doesn't feel so awkward. Like walking up here, having an introduction kind of breaks the ice. So the community part of restorative justice is the key. Everybody Googles restorative justice when they find out the district is doing it, or they see something in the HBO or in the newspaper or magazines, or some other district folks are talking about it. And the things that come up in your Google search are restorative justice. But it's often on the second part, which is on the PowerPoint, intervention and accountability. When I first got trained in restorative practices, my challenge was, restore to what? Everybody say, restore to what? A little better. Restore to what? Exactly. Restore to this, where we will be our best selves with each other. You're right. I am a little more tan than the last time you saw me. I was on vacation. I'm doing really well. You chose to come back for whatever reason, right? A great comedian named Chris Rock once said, in rooms just like this, when students fill our campuses in rooms just like this, a lot of times you'll hear somebody come up to the microphone and they'll say, through education, you could be anything you want to be. And you chose this. So why did you choose this? There has to be a why to this work. And there should be a why to this work collectively. And that requires us to hear and share with each other, like Dr. Dradi just said. To share vulnerably and to listen empathetically is the challenge of the work and the practice of restorative justice. It's not all circles, it's not all harm circles, it's the way we do everything. So I apologize if you didn't know me this morning and I gave you a hug, but I tried to introduce myself first, or at least shake hands with the person you was talking to. But this is just my way. I truly believe in this as a practice. Does anybody else believe in relationships of the work? Make some noise. Everybody say it with me. This is a quote from Theodore Roosevelt. 1, 2, 3. That's a famous person. I didn't say that. He made that up. I didn't make that up. I believe this. Do you believe this? It just works better. I don't know who your favorite teacher was, because I didn't go to school with a lot of y'all. I went to Westchester High School in LA. Anybody? Nobody? I'm by myself. Okay, 2 people. Shout out to the 2 people that went to Westchester. I don't remember everything that I turned in. I don't remember all the curriculums. But I do remember the teachers that I loved and that I felt loved me. And I also remember the staff members of all type who cared about me, who checked on me, who saw me and welcomed me. And when I was tripping, told me I was tripping in a way that I could hear. Would that make sense? That sometimes happens. But having an environment with at least some of the folks who do this work of education will make us better at educating, especially for some people who might be like us in this room, who come into our classrooms and don't like school, or don't like this subject, or they think they don't like you because the way you look when they walked in the room, you looked a certain way. We can break the ice. We can break the ice by doing something intentionally. On top of this slide, it says, education is hard work. It's hard work, but it's heart work. And I believe that us connecting back to that idea on purpose together is how we will educate all of our babies, even if it's not your baby. So, next slide. How do we do that? Don't stress yourself on the hard stuff yet. Everyone always, how do we do a harm circle with the kids who fight and the gangs and the drugs and the sleeping and the, okay, I get it. Level 1 is about building the relationships. You can use circles, you can use one-on-one dialogue opportunities, you can ask questions that help people show who they are or what they're into in a respectful way. How do you do that? Community building circles with your staff. Everybody say with your staff. A lot of folks forget that sometimes we're supposed to practice what we preach in education. There's a lot of times we want to call harm circles on young people for doing harm in a classroom or on a campus, but where was the harm circle for the adult that did the adult thing to the other adults? Practice what you, everybody say practice what you preach. That sounds good. Do it in class. Check-ins, beginning of the school year, beginning of the semester, before the test, after the test, before Christmas break, holiday break, spring break, whatever breaks. There are things that come up, and you're trying to teach in the curriculum or serve or do your duty, but they're physically there, but mentally they're not there. Will you be able to see it? Will you be able to catch it? Will they trust you enough to tell you the truth? That's the work. And lastly, with parents, everybody say with parents. As a father of a young person who's now going to JAMS starting on Thursday, I would hope that you would welcome me to circles on your campuses. And as the Restorative Justice Director, it is my challenge to you to ask. I'm going to ask you, how can I support you? Ask if you need some help. It's going to require communication. Is that okay? Cool. Let me get out the way. Thank you.
There are sessions during the PD time for if you want to learn how to incorporate restorative justice and also how to incorporate the social justice standards in an introductory way. The professional learnings on these areas will be what we do because that's our three-pronged approach. In conclusion, I believe we can face the challenges I described earlier if we band together. We learn from conscious reflecting on our humanity. We made tremendous strides last year. Our challenge is to continue to get better for this upcoming year. I ask that each of you not opt out of this work as we progress through the year. Incidentally, I made a mistake earlier by saying there were 8,000 employees. There's not that many employees. 800. Let me get that out the way here. So the work isn't all hard. No, dang, you know. I ask that if you're not feeling connected, that you dig in and engage. Okay? If you're not feeling connected, dig in and engage. The task is to get 800 of us working together. Working together. And that's not something I can sit up here as superintendent and say in order. That is something that we work together at. And if you're not engaged, you need to say so, so that way, and challenge me, challenge your site administrators, challenge the system to say I have to be plugged in, because each one of us is essential to the work. Your voice and participation, the organization will learn and get better, okay? With your voice and engagement, the organization will get better. Each of you, classified, certificated, and management, plays a vital role in transforming education to help our children take on the world they're about to inherit. We mentioned earlier about the challenges that we were facing. And this is the start of a journey, the start of a journey. I would consider last year as an introduction to the process, but as we dig deeper and deeper and deeper, 5, 6, 7 years from now, this place will be different. Our students' experience will be different. They will be developing things that we have not even imagined. Yeah. So with that said, we always want to honor those who have shown grit, given their life, wisdom, and efforts in shaping our students. It's not easy being an educator. I think we recognize that. But the ones that have made this a life experience, we have to honor, because it takes a lot to stay in education. It takes special people. With that said, I would like to invite Dr. Mark Kelly now to present the longevity pins for employees who have been with us 30 years or more.
Good morning. So we would like to acknowledge our permanent co-workers who are reaching a significant milestone during the 2018-19 school year. These employees have continuous service of 30, 35, and 40 years. We would like to honor them, present them with a service longevity pin, and thank them for their commitment to our students in SMMUSD. We have a large number of 30-year recipients this year, so I'd like all of them to come to the stage together. If you see your name on the screen, please come forward. If you see someone who's not really wanting to come up, give them the moral support to come up to the stage. So if you see your name, come on up. There's more of you out there. So we have a number of them. Some of them couldn't be with us, but we're going to acknowledge them anyways. So we're going to start here with, what's that? With Sylvia Romero. These are all 30-year recipients. So Sylvia Romero was hired in May of 1989. After a brief time as a substitute, she has worked as an admin assistant in the Child Development Office for all of her 30 years in the district. Eddie Jean Carpenter. Hired as an hourly cafeteria work one in May of 1989, Eddie Jean became a permanent at Samo High a few months later. She has assignments at John Adams Middle School and Roosevelt, among others, but primarily has been in the kitchen at Samo High, where she continues to serve. Jose Velasquez. Hired in April 1989, Jose worked as a cafeteria worker 1 at the Malibu schools for 17 years. Since 2006, he has been custodian at Point Doom, currently working the night shift. Andrea Ware. Hired as a substitute teacher in April 1989, Andrea then at Grant from 1990 to 1998. From 1998 to 2006, she was primarily a substitute teacher with a stint in kindergarten and as a reading teacher at Grant. Since 2006, she has been back at Grant and is currently teaching 4th grade. Mark Sandrigan. Hired as a substitute teacher at McKinley in March 1989, Mark began teaching a 3-4 combo at McKinley in September of 1989, and 30 years later, he is still at McKinley teaching 5th grade. Christine Toby. Christy began as a substitute teacher in January 1989. Since September 1989, Christy has been the independent study teacher at Olympic High School. She has also supported the diploma program in adult education. Emelita Martinez. Emelita began as an after-school teacher at Grant in October 1988. She worked in childcare at Grant for 25 years. For the past 5 years, she has been at Rogers, celebrating 30 years as a CDS teacher. Ed Curry. Ed was hired as a 5th grade teacher at McKinley in September 1988. 30 years later, Ed is still at McKinley, currently teaching kindergarten. Nikki Fisk. Hired in September 1988, Nikki spent about 3 weeks teaching at Roosevelt before she was transferred to Franklin. Currently teaching 3rd grade, she is still at Franklin. Shirley Tarpley. Starting in September 1988 as a science teacher at JAMS, Shirley was one of the original science magnet teachers. Today, you will still find her at JAMS, currently teaching PE. Karen Mendelson. Starting as a long-term substitute at Roosevelt in September 1988, Karen became a permanent 2-3 grade teacher there in the fall of 1989. 30 years later, she is still at Roosevelt, currently teaching kindergarten. Mary Catherine Donahoe. Kitty was hired in September 1988 to teach 2nd grade at Roosevelt. Today you will find her still at Roosevelt, currently teaching 3rd grade. Ann Whitley. Ann was another September 1988 hire. She began teaching a 4-5 combo at Roosevelt, and 30 years later, she's still at Roosevelt, currently teaching 4th grade. All these wonderful 30-year colleagues at Roosevelt, very special. Randall Dennis. Hired in September 1988 to teach history and geography at Samo High, Randy has also served several years as a mentor teacher. Currently teaching English and social studies, he celebrates 30 years at Samo High. And Diana Kamabayashi. Diana started in September 1988 as a clerk typist 2 in Child Development Services. In 1994, she transferred to Educational Services, and since 2003, she has been holding down the fort as a senior office specialist in the superintendent's office. So let's give these 30-year recipients a big round of applause. And we'd like you to remain on the stage, and we'd like to invite Jeffrey Peoples for 35 years of service. Jeff was hired in July 1983 as a substitute custodian. He became a permanent employee in 1986 and served over 30 years at Santa Monica High School. Since 2017, Jeff has been the night custodian at McKinley Elementary, and we congratulate him on 35 years of service. And we have 2 employees celebrating 40 years. So let's invite Stanley Wilson and joining him is Mark Donovan. So Stanley was hired in April of 1979 as an instructional assistant PE. He worked at McKinley, Rogers, and Webster. In 1984, Stanley moved to a custodian position. Since 1998, he has been a campus security officer at John Adams Middle School. In April 2019, he will reach 40 years of service with the district. Give him a big wave, Mark. Mark Donovan. After starting as a substitute in 1978, Mark became a permanent custodian at Webster in 1979. He was the night custodian at Webster for 26 years. In 2005, he was promoted to skilled maintenance worker, and in 2011, he was promoted to glazer. In November, Mark will celebrate 40 years with the district. Let's give a big round of applause for all of these employees for their continuous service. And of course, we want you to stay because we want a great picture of all of you together. So thank you. Gail, are you there? All right. Get in that picture. Get in that picture. Thank you and congratulations. And I think it's time for the raffle.
Okay, we're almost there. The last few envelopes I see running down the aisle. That's good. You're going to shake it up. So I invited both Sarah and Carol to pick the winners today, each for one $500 gift card to Amazon. So Sarah picked the first one.
Amy Previtt.
Is Amy here?
Is Amy here?
Yeah, she must. If not, I'm going to hold that.
Where are you, Amy? Is Amy here?
I think well, I'll wait by the stage when this is over. I think she's coming down from upstairs. Okay, the second winner of a $500 Amazon gift card. Carol's mixing it up really good.
Julie Siegel.
Okay, meet me down here to get your gift cards. Thank you very much.
We're almost out of here now. I'd like to close as I did last year. I'd like to close as I did last year by describing one of the most powerful lessons my late father left me with. He often talked about there are three forms of love. One that a person has for their significant other, and another is for one has for their child, immediate child, and family. And a third is unconditional love, agape love. This is a type of love irrespective of feeling. It is doing the right thing at all times, no matter what. It's the love that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had when he turned the other cheek when he was slapped. It is also the love that one says, love your enemy. Let's continue to love each other and love our students and our families. Thank you. And you guys are awesome, and I'll see you guys around the district. Thank you.